Welcome to my platform. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on your location or anytime you are meeting this video on YouTube. And if you like what I do here, please, after watching, subscribe, put on your notification bell, set it to all notifications so that you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. In this platform, we react to all forms of video. What we do before putting the video, analyze it, and we sit down there to watch it together with you. Then later we'll come to the comment section to talk about it. Of course, everybody is entitled to his or her opinion, but let us always do it constructively in the comment section. Like you can see, this is my t-shirt, this is my merchandise. If you like this,
the panel of inquiry headed by the respected Justice Doris Okwobi defined massacre in the report and came to the conclusion that what happened in Lagos was a massacre. The basis of the conclusion is well set out in the report. All those who were alleged to have committed what can be regarded as crimes against humanity were given the opportunity to respond to those allegations, to defend themselves. Some of them ran away voluntarily. They had given evidence, and I'm talking of 4 military officers who gave oral and documentary evidence and tender a document that were admitted as exhibits. But when it came to challenging the evidence given by eyewitnesses, the relations of those who were killed, forensic experts, medical doctors, the Lagos State pathologists, the military officers and their lawyers, vamoosed, and the Judicial Commission of Inquiry came to the right decision that these guys ran away because they could not defend the allegations made against them. And that is what even a court of law will have done. But people forget the fact that this is a fact-finding commission of inquiry set up under the law. And Ruben, if you look at the credentials of the members, you cannot challenge their integrity. The chairperson, is not just a retired judge of the Lagos State High Court. She also rose to become the permanent secretary and solicitor general in the Ministry of Justice before she crossed to the bench. And throughout her career, no lawyer, no litigant ever associated her with corruption or corrupt influences. Some of the other members include Mr. Taiwo Lakani, a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police. You think he will have served down there while the army and the police are indicted for committing no offense? You also have a top official of the Ministry of Justice. I think she's the director of one of the agencies of the government. Of course, you have a senior advocate of Nigeria, Bade Burua, a former student leader representing the civil society. All the members were appointed by the government, including the secretary of the commission. But based on the irrefutable evidence adduced before them, it became difficult to cover up the findings. What they saw. But what is important, please, there isn't much of a controversy. Those who are raising queries, one of them took part as a lawyer, a senior lawyer in the panel of inquiry, on behalf of the Lagos State government, lost out. Now is using his position in that panel as if he's speaking for the government of Lagos State. This is a former student leader who was part of the students in Nigeria that fought against police brutality as a student leader, not just an ordinary student. This lawyer was an activist in Ife. When 4 ABU students were massacred or killed in May 1986, I defended them. If you say your daughter was at the panel, at the protest ground, why did you not bring her to the Commission of Inquiry to give evidence to challenge or contradict the evidence of other eyewitnesses? So please, there isn't much of a controversy. What is happening, Ruben, is a dubious attempt to continue to cover up the atrocity that occurred on October 20 last year. But all they are saying, they are not denying the profound findings, the foundation recommendations. All they are saying is that, oh, the number of those who died is not up to 9. How many died? Tell us. Didn't the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, before the commencement of the sittings of the panel, come out to tell the whole world that 2 people were killed? I also visited the hospitals to sympathize with those who were injured. Some of those who were injured came to the panel with their broken legs. Some of their legs have been amputated. For goodness sake, why are we trivializing a serious inquiry? Did anybody die? The chief pathologist of Lagos State gave evidence and said in 5 days, 99 bodies of human beings, 99 bodies of those who were killed were dumped in the various mortuaries in the morgue by security personnel, soldiers and policemen, and that in the early hours of the 21st, there was a cleanup exercise by LOMA, the Lagos State Waste Management Agency. That is the evidence. That has not been challenged.
Well, Mr. Falano.
I know somebody is now saying, pretends to be an intellectual. Oh, how could you have found expired shell at the venue when you claim that the place had been cleaned up? That is a genuine argument.
Well, Mr. Falano.
Because even after the visit of the panel to the local Cinco, government officials went there, including the Minister of Works, a former governor of the state, Mr. Fashola, Babatunde Fashola, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who said, I pick up a camera at the venue. So what are you talking about? Oh,
well, Mr. Falano,
the place had been cleaned up.
Mr. Falano.
Yes.
I said there was a controversy that is controversial because if you look at it, SH0CKING, SAN, who is the counsel to the Lagos State government that you're referring to, alluded to the fact that there were at least 40 discrepancies in the report that is out there.
Did he tell you the 40 discrepancies?
Well,
no.
Well, I think I saw a document in which he listed some of them. Then today in this day newspaper.
No, what are they? It hasn't listed 40 discrepancies.
Well, today at page.
It's a senior advocate of Nigeria.
At pages 24 and
yes,
49
yes,
of this day newspaper today, a certain
yes,
Dr. Abubakar
yes,
Yekini, I think, yes, lists 29
yes,
discrepancies in his own, yes, objection. Now, on the other hand, you have Eboluwadeburua, SAN, who is saying, yes, look, if that report is not acted upon, he will release another report. Is there a problem of procedure here with everybody coming up with their own reports? What is the exact report that the Lagos State government has in his possession. Is it normal for members of panel or third parties to come up with a report when the authority to put a white paper together rests with the state government?
Well, with profound respect to some of these guys, the said Dr. Abubakar Yekini,
yes,
is a lecturer at the Lagos State University. You must know where some of these persons are coming from. But with profound respect, they have not challenged the fact that people were killed. Their quarrel is, let us establish discrepancies. Some of them are figments of their imagination so that we can discredit the report. I am saying, Ruben, let us forget the panel. The governor of Lagos State said 2 people were killed. The chief pathologist of the state said out of the 99 bodies, 3 were traced to Lekki toll gate. The SEC, an agency of the Lagos State government that was indicted for a cover-up of the incident, issued a statement on the 21st of October, having captured the scene through the CCTV cameras before those cameras were disabled. And the statement is to the fact that LCC, an agency of the Lagos State government, condemned the wanton killing of protesters. The statement was admitted in evidence. Now, where is the controversy coming from, Ruben? That people were not killed? How many were killed? If you are saying, oh, they didn't kill up to 9. How many were killed? Ruben, in 1986, a vice chancellor was asked, the vice chancellor of ABU, Professor Angu Abdullahi, we understand some students were killed in your university. How many of them? He said only 4 students were killed. That statement, Ruben, made at the 9 o'clock, during the 9 o'clock news of the NTA, led to a spontaneous, reaction by students throughout the country, throughout the length and breadth of the country. A judicial commission of inquiry was set up, headed by the late Justice Adebayo Akonbi of the Court of Appeal. We went to 10 campuses to investigate. What happened, Ruben? The report was not released tomorrow because the government was indicted. Now, the report leaked. The report of the Oputa panel of inquiry, the Obasanjo regime did not release it. It leaked. The report of the Kayode Esho panel on corrupt judges under the Abacha junta was not released. It leaked. In fact, 2 of the leaked reports were published by the news magazine. The one of Esho panel and the one of Justice Akonbi. Heavens did not fall. So it is not the first time that a report submitted to government is leaking now. But it's leaking. I told you, I'm published by the media. But let me tell you something, which is very fundamental. Where soldiers are just listening to the Chief of Defense Staff, and he made the point. The armed forces is trying the word armed. Soldiers are not sent to the scene of a crisis to clap there. They go there to kill. You have and that's the point he was making. We're called. You don't call soldiers to stop a protest, which is peaceful in every material particular. So, with soldiers, there are 3 judgments, Ruben, obtained by the APC government, APC, as a political party, when it was in opposition, where the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal declare illegal the involvement of soldiers in civil matters like election, maintenance of law and order, In 2019, in the case of Fanni and Nigerian Army, I obtained a judgment where the court declared illegal and unconstitutional the move by the army to subject Nigerians to embarrassment on the highway by asking us to produce our ID cards, and so on and so forth. So those judgments remain unchallenged. So in other words, under no circumstance, Ruben, can soldiers be sent by the, can soldiers be deployed to areas where civilians are protesting who are unarmed? In any case, and the panel made this finding that the Lagos state government requested for the military. Yes, but the panel didn't go further to say that by virtue of section 217 of the Constitution, only the commander-in-chief of the armed forces can deploy troops in Nigeria. Not a governor, not the chief of army staff. But during your interview, when you granted, the president spoke through the Arise television. You interviewed the president this year. And he said, the NSAS protesters wanted to overthrow my government. For me, if you consider what happened seriously, and the disclosure by the president, the soldiers were sent there to kill so as not to overthrow the government. That was the rumor. That was misinformation, passed to the president. Hence, when the president gave a speech last year, a broadcast, he simply said, we have heard you loud and clear. We are attending to your demands. But the president was later told by those who wanted to justify the legal deployment of troops, they wanted to overthrow your government. In the case of the police, Ruben, there are two laws. The Electoral Act 2010 as amended in 2015 and the Police Establishment Act 2020 that have provided that during protest, the police shall provide security for the protesters. Ruben, if the law has been followed last year and the police had surrounded the Lekki Toll Gate area and Alausa, where the young people were protesting, the question of hoodlums hijacking the protest will not have arisen. But even what is this hijacking, Ruben? The people that are called hoodlums are area boys in peacetime. They are thugs during election. They are hoodlums during protest. And who are in charge? Who recruit thugs during election? The government. Politicians. During protest, during the last protest, don't forget, violence was unleashed on the young people in Alausa. Rented buses unleashed violence. In Abuja, the whole world saw thugs, armed thugs, shooting at protesters in broad daylight. You know what the young people did? They arrested some of them, handed them over to the police. The police did not prosecute them. So unfortunately, Ruben, other hoodlums and thugs saw a free reign for thuggery and violence. So they came out, engaged in the burning of houses, public and private buildings. They went to prison to set free their colleagues. And what happened? And they also killed, including policemen who were on duty. And the government turned around, hoodlums hijacked the protest. Who recruited the hoodlums? Please, let us not miss the point that the army has no business under the Constitution to get involved in the maintenance of law and order. Secondly, that the police has a duty, the Nigerian police force has a duty to protect protesters so that they are not attacked by hoodlums, so that hoodlums will not hijack peaceful protest. That is the law. All these people are racing.
Mr. Falano, aren't there extraordinary
controversies have not addressed these very salient points.
Anyway, Mr. Falano, aren't there extraordinary circumstances when the military can be called out in aid of civil force? Maybe that's what happened in this particular case.
Under Section 217,
yes,
the police, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, can deploy troops when it is evident that the civil authorities, in this case the police, can no longer maintain law and order. Are you saying, Ruben, that in a place where young people were singing national anthem, right, waving Nigerian flags, can you deploy troops to go and mow them down? No. That is not one of those cases where the military can be brought in. The military cannot be brought in to attack unarmed protesters, even during a war. You must understand, Ruben, that the Geneva Conventions have been domesticated in Nigeria. So we have the Geneva Convention Act of 1961, which provides, even in a war situation, you don't attack civilian targets. You don't attack unarmed people. So, and that is why the rules of engagement drawn up by military authorities to guide the conduct of soldiers, even during hostilities, were completely breached. And that was why the military could not justify what they did. Initially, they said, we're never there at all. And the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Salami, because the government could not justify, oh, they were not Nigerian soldiers. Those are likely to be thought who put on military uniform. The minister of, another minister, Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, said more than about 5 times now, soldiers were not at Lekki, no killing took place there. So that is the position. And it was when the young people, the protesters, brought out irrefutable digital evidence showing soldiers who were shooting. It was at that juncture that, oh, we were there. The soldiers, the military now said we were there. But we're only there to disperse the protesters, and we shot into the air. For goodness sake, under what constitutional right, power, what constitutional power are you exercising to go to Lekki toll gate and shoot at protesters? So these are issues that cannot be covered up by those who are raising unnecessary controversies with a view to discrediting the report, so that when the white paper is released, oh, they had already said it that there are discrepancies. But let me warn you, those guys are weeping more than the bereaved. In fairness to the Lagos state government, note this: Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has acknowledged that people were killed, whether two, he admitted two. The panel has said no. We find 9 that were killed. The panel has, the Lagos state government, in fairness to, I must commend the government for this. Even while the panel was sitting, based on the implicit confidence the governor has in the members of the panel, unlike other commissions of inquiry in the country, the Lagos state government directed the panel, please, award compensation, give reparation to victims in deserving cases. That panel has already awarded a total sum of 409 million naira as compensation to victims of police brutality in Lagos State. Furthermore, the Lagos State governor has visited the homes of the 6 policemen that lost their lives, who were killed by hoodlums, gave 10 million naira to each of the families, and promised to ensure and offer scholarship to the children of these slain police officers up to university level. So, and I also can tell you this: there was a spy policeman that was killed. The family went to the panel. No, our terms of reference did not cover this type of complaint. Our law firm wrote to the governor, in fairness to the Lagos state government, again creditably, the governor ordered that the widow of the spy police man be compensated. That has happened. So the point I'm making, therefore, is that the Lagos state government is already implementing part of the report, the recommendations, and final one, which is very, very important. I did say publicly that the cause of the massacre at that time was because the police did not have canisters of tear gas. The police did not have water cannon and rubber bullets. I can tell you today, and I'm happy, the Lagos state government has since acquired those crowd control measures. Since the incident of last year, only one person has been killed by a stray bullet at Toyota during the Yoruba Nation rally. And an inquiry is going on. We are representing the mother of the deceased at the coroner's inquest. This morning, I have just read that the Lagos state government has rented an apartment for the mother of the deceased, even while the inquiry has not been concluded. So the point I'm making therefore is that, contrary to the so-called controversy, the Lagos state government is already implementing the recommendations. And I can't see the government. And you know what the white paper is all about, Ruben? A white paper usually contains the directives of the government on the recommendations. The government does not, as a practice, release the report of judicial and administrative commissions of inquiry. That is not to justify the leakage of the report. But I have said, this is not the first time reports of inquiry have been leaked in Nigeria. It is to ensure that there is no cover-up by the government. That's all. No more, no less.
Okay, Mr. Falano, it's good you brought up the point about the widow of the spy policeman who went to the panel, and she was told, well, you know, that did not include, it was not included in their terms of reference, because that was the last point. That was the last point raised by Dr. Yakine in his piece today in This Day, specifically at page 49. He said, look, the panel did not even spare a word for policemen who were slain, people who lost their loved ones within the security agencies. But you've helped to shed some light on that. However, out of all the recommendations, 32 of them, 32 recommendations by the panel, which recommendations do you think are more urgent? And I'm thinking in this regard of the recommendation that all officers of state involved in that massacre should all be sanctioned. And beyond the police and the military officers, should this include persons like the Minister of Information? Should it also include Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai, who was Chief of Defense Staff at the time and who has since been rewarded with an ambassadorial appointment?
Well, as far as the law is concerned, the government is bound to restrict itself to the recommendations of the panel. I've read the report. There is nowhere any reference was made to the former immediate past Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai. It's likely to, very soon, is going to attend to the brutal killing of 348 people in Zaria between December 12 and 14, 2015, who were not only killed, they were given a secret burial in an unmarked grave. That is before the International Criminal Court. In this case, it depends on the way both the Lagos state government and the federal government handle the recommendations. If for any reason the recommendations of the panel are poo-pooed and nothing happens at the end of the day, that will not be the end of the matter. The ICC is there. And right now, Ruben, I'm involved in a number of cases of transitional justice in Africa. President Thomas Sankara, that was killed 34 years ago, and everybody had forgotten about it. Just last month, the trial of those who killed him, including ex-president Blaise Compaoré, commenced in Ouagadougou. In the case of President Yahya Jammeh, the human rights community, global human rights community, representatives just had a meeting in Banjul last week to get ourselves prepared for the release of the report of the Commission of Inquiry ongoing in that country. I'm sure you are aware President Charles Taylor is languishing in prison in Europe for crimes against humanity committed years ago in Sierra Leone and Liberia. Of course, ex-president Ismail Abri of Chad, who killed about 4,000 people, was convicted in Senegal and jailed, I think sentenced to life imprisonment. He passed on a few months ago. So there is no room for impunity when it comes to crimes against humanity, aggression, and other similar offenses. So whatever the government does with this report, I can assure you there can be no cover-up any longer. And in this case, the white paper cannot, with profound respect to the members, vitiate or impugn or question the findings, because the panel members listen to the witnesses. So you can't sit down in the office of the government and be rubbishing the report. What the government is asked to do with respect to these recommendations, what do you do? If the government is not prepared to recommend prosecution, there is a right of private prosecution. So you can trust the NSAS protest movement. The NSAS movement has already set up a panel of lawyers, and they are working with the People's Alternative Political Movement to ensure that everybody recommended for prosecution is brought to book. Secondly, the panel could not complete the assignment because it was monumental. So out of 252 petitions, the panel was only able to deal with 186. So the panel has recommended that the government of Lagos State should set up a standing human rights committee to attend to these other petitions. And I'm sure that will be done because that recommendation is in line with the resolution of the National Economic Council, of which the governor of Lagos State is a member. That body said in each of the states, just like the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja, we should have a standing human rights committee. And so the committee is going to deal with the remaining petitions. So there is no way the government can abandon the recommendation. They are so fundamental. And in fairness to the governor, he has said, with the report of, the emergence of the white paper, proper healing will start. And you can't have proper healing if there is any attempt to cover up the findings of the panel.
Okay, Mr. Falano, there are two other issues I'd like to bring up with you, also of national.
Thank you so much for watching this video together with me. Like I said before, if it is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel and you like what I do, please subscribe, put on your notification bell, share this video, leave your comment in the comment section. You are free to criticize, but let us do it always constructively. Remain blessed. I appreciate your massive support and I love and cherish each and every one of you. Until I meet you again in my next video, for now I will say bye-bye.